Hey everyone, so in the previous video we did our first scene layout, just showing you how you do your first pass for what your scene will look like. In this video we're going to be doing a little animation. We're going to be animating our camera. Yeah, see you in class. So everyone, welcome back. This is going to be a quick one. We're just going to animate our camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this intersection, and then I'm going to join areas here so that we can just have our camera there. Don't worry, we're going to bring that back when we're going into proper scene layout. Now remember what I told you, you're always going to make adjustments to your scene. Always remember that. I feel like this is a little bit to the side, so I'm going to move this a little bit more. Something like this maybe. Yes, that works. So yeah, let's do little camera animation now. This is probably your first time getting into the what do you call it, the sequencer, or also known as the timeline. First things first though, make sure your frame rate is at 24 frames per second. That greatly affects your animation and how it looks, and 24 frames per second just gives you a more realistic feel. So if you're going for a more realistic feel, always go for 24 not realistic, a more cinematic feel, always go for 24 frames per second. But yeah, let me show you how to quickly add animations to your camera, or to any object basically. So you have your timeline, and your timeline basically is where all your animation data in 2D space goes to. So I'm very sure you've heard of keyframes. If you haven't, let me just quickly explain them. So keyframes are basically are markers used to define specific values for objects and properties. It could be location, rotation, scale, or material settings. Now Blender interpolates the values between keyframes, creating smooth transition in motion. Basically keyframes are like pillars that contain an animation data. So if should we use the camera as an example? No, let's use the cube. Let's bring in a cube and use that as an example. Now if I go to my cube here, I can come to the properties panel, object properties panel, and I can now say, okay, Blender, I want this cube in frame 1. That's frame 1 of your sequencer or timeline. I can say, Blender, I want this cube to move on the x-axis, right? And how I can do that is I can add 2 pillars. I can add two, what is the best way to describe this? I can add 2, the word is pillar. So the first pillar will contain my base information, and then the second pillar will contain the second part of the information, which is saying, okay, this is where I want my cube to now be. So what Blender will do is Blender will now interpolate between those 2 keyframes, meaning since our first keyframe is 0, and then our next keyframe is maybe so amount of degrees, Blender is going to go ahead and now animate in between those 2 keyframes. So let's quickly do this. Let's add a keyframe. So to add a keyframe, you just have to come to whatever property or whatever value you want to change, and then you come to this circular dot, and left click. You can either do that, it's going to change to a diamond shape when you do that, or you can come here and just do it the old school way. I think if I just turn this off and I come here, yeah, you can see insert keyframe, but that usually inserts keyframe for the entire scene, or you can do insert single keyframe and you have this. So now we have our first keyframe. Let's go to 50 and tell Blender, okay, this is where I want my cube to be at the end of the animation. So at the beginning you basically define where you want your object to be at the beginning and at the end of the animation, and Blender will do the work in between. That's the difference between that's the major difference between 2D and 3D, the interpolation. So if you go here, you would see that our cube is moving. Yeah, it looks like magic, right? Yeah, our cube just moved. And so yeah, basically that's the entire idea of animation. Basically interpolation, two strongholds or two pillars that contain information, and then letting Blender do the magic in between that. Now we do, if you notice something, our animation is, it just starts and stop. There's no smoothness to it at all, right? Now I don't want us to get into graph now, because the graph editor is a little bit tricky. It's a robust video on its own, and maybe that will be our next video. But let me just quickly give you an overview of what in fact, let's go into the graph editor in this video, right? Let me quickly give you an overview of what of how to make this smooth, right? So you can right click and then you see something called handle types. Well, not even handle types, you see interpolation mode. Now what is interpolation? Interpolation basically is the definition of your curve. That's your keyframe curve in between two keyframes. So usually if I come to the graph editor, I'm going to left click here, come to graph editor, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag all the way this panel all the way here, and you can see that our base, let me normalize this. Normalize basically just makes everything stretched out and readable. So I'm just going to do that, and you can see it's bigger now. What I'm going to also do is I'm going to come to the bar below here, and then I'm going to stretch it out so that we can see this curve properly. Even though yes, our cube does not just start and stop, you can see that it has some smoothness to it. Well, let me just do this so that I can do a proper definition. Let's make it a linear. So this is a definition of just starting and stopping. So this could be what this kind of animation could be what a robot could do, or it could be what a robot could do or what a machine could do, right? But this does not apply to organic objects. It does not apply to anything but machines, right? So basically, we essentially told Blender between these two keyframes, we do not want any form of definition. We just want it to go from point A to point B in a straight and linear way, right? But then we can decide to change that, just like we did now. We can now tell Blender that, oh, okay, how about making it a Bezier? Now Bezier just means that it's going to, if you just read what Bezier is here, it just means that it's going to smooth interpolation between A and B with some control over the curve shape, right? So basically it's just telling Blender, oh, at the beginning of this frame, don't start interpolating immediately. Give it some time to build up before you start making the animation towards the end, if that makes any sense. So now the linear creates, just to give a quick example, the linear creates a, if we should go to the interpolation, the linear creates a steady constant motion between two keyframes. Bezier is the default. It produces smooth curve transitions with acceleration and deceleration, mimicking natural motion. So like I said, this is acceleration. This is not acceleration, but basically this is telling Blender, do not, if you look at our linear, so our linear right off the bat, it starts our animation basically without any form of deceleration or acceleration. So that is not appealing to the eye. And if you remember our curve, our curve I'm very sure you already know that this looks like our curve in our descent, and it's true, it does, because it uses the same idea for the graph as well. So if I just come to, these are the control points and these are the handles, same thing with our curve in our handle, that's in beginners. If I come and drag this, you would see that the more I drag this beginning part of our animation, the smoother it gets. You can see Let me just reduce this to 100 to 90 maybe. Put the end of our animation to 90, so you can see that it starts off very smooth, and then I can go all the way to the end as well and drag it as well, and it just means that the deceleration is going to be way smoother than what it was. So you can see that it accelerates then decelerates, right, which is very beautiful. So basically that's the entire idea of your graph. We're going to get into the graph maybe a little bit more later, and then I'm going to go ahead and explain myself as we go, because it's better that way. Once we're animating this cube, we're going to go into it proper, and then I'm going to show you a lot of tricks and all of that. But just know this, that the graph editor is your friend and it is basically what defines the motion of your animation in 2D space, right? Deceleration, acceleration, all those cool effects you see cameras have, this is where the magic happens, even down to your character animation. In fact, what makes your character animation stand out is your graph. It's your graph. It's how is your representation of your graph. So just know that your graph is very important. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this, and now let's animate our camera. So what I can do is I can pull this back to maybe 200, and we want our camera to have a just a nice dolly. And if you don't know what a dolly is, it's just basically our camera moving towards the subject. Just a slow and nice animation. Later on we can add camera shakes, but for now we're just blocking out our entire scene. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to our X axis here, right? Yes, and then we're going to left click on that circle, and then it turns to a diamond, and then I'm going to move this all the way to maybe, let's say, 90. And the thing with this is we do not even have to do an interpolation for this, because there might not be no need. We might just want a constant we might just want a linear animation for this. So I'm just going to go to hit T, not T rather. I'm going to hit the shortcut for changing interpolation in your keyframe is T, and that's why I was hitting T here, but it's here in your timeline. So hit T and then make this linear, and then you see we might just even want a linear animation for this. So as you can see, our camera is moving. It's a little bit too slow. Let's make it 150 as opposed to 190. 190 might be too long. Let's put 150. So we might want that to be a little bit more the movement. So I might just move this a little bit forward, right? And always make sure that if you because this so you have something called auto keying. Now if auto keying is not on, and I go ahead to edit this let's say my x-axis location, if I now move my keyframe, if I move my timeline, or what do you call it, this, if I move in my timeline, you'd see that it reverts back to normal, and because we don't have auto keying on. And if we don't have auto keying on, it means that we have to manually tell Blender that, okay, remember to replace these new values with the old values, right? So if I just move this a little bit, and now an indicator that you know that your animation has not been applied is this orange. So what you can do is just left click on the diamond, and then you see it takes away the keyframe, and then left click again, and you have successfully replaced your keyframe. I'm going to come to the beginning as well, click on the X, and then move it to the back maybe, and then left click on this, left click on that, come to go to A to select all my keyframes. It seems that I've made a mistake. Have I? I feel like that. Okay, no mistake. So A, T, and then linear. and then let's see. Okay, I think I like this for now. We can adjust it a little bit more later, but yeah, essentially that's it for your camera animation. It's always good that you have your camera and even the camera animation set from the beginning so that you can know what you're working with. Always remember that you can do anything 3D, but it doesn't necessarily mean you should do everything, because one thing you don't have control over is time, and you have to learn how to manage your time. So you have to learn how to focus on things that are most likely going to be visible. In fact, mostly be visible, as opposed to, for instance, as you can see, we do not have anything behind our camera, so it's just like me coming to add a cube here, and then the cube is behind our camera and I'm animating it. Nobody is seeing it, right? And there's no point of doing this. So just know this early on, that you wouldn't have to do any of that. You can just do everything. You can just make sure that everything in your frame is what you're working on. Yeah, that's it for this video. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed yourself. How about you try doing the same thing I did? Try adding some animations, try adding some rotations to your camera and make it look more appealing. We're going to do most of that later on, but you can go out of yourself and test yourself and try doing this try animating your camera, try messing with the timeline. In the next video, we're going to go over doing a rough block of lighting and still adjusting our scene further, get ready to texture and get into the final stages of our animation.